Require Media. We are dedicated to discussing hard truths and finding remedies for our problems. On this platform, we will stay engaged on all happenings in Myanmar, Liberia, not limited to politics, religion, development, economy, security, crimes, war on illegal drugs, employment, youth, growth, and food productivity. Today's discussion will focus around why are we seeing the influx of illegal drugs in Liberia? It is affecting a critical part of our population, especially the youth. Today, here to discuss with me are Edwin Saipor, Dr. Archibald B. Water, Mr. Moses Singbe, and Sergeant Leo Montgomery. At this time, I would just turn over for introduction, and we're going to start from Edwin Sayampor, followed by Dr. Archibald B. Waller, and um, Mr. Moses Singway, and then Leo Montgomery. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast of Action Required Media. Edwin?
Good evening, family. My name is Edwin Saipor Jr. I'm a writer. I have a book on Amazon. It's called A Mission by Edwin Saipor Jr. It's a good read. If you want something with a little bit of mystery and a little bit of funny, you can go ahead and grab it. I'm looking to discuss issues that are affecting our country. I'm looking to chime in, what are ideas that I have. It could work, but it's always good to have more than one head talking together. It only progresses thing.
All right, thank you, Mr. Paul. Dr. Waller.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Joe. And good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's always a pleasure to be on this platform to discuss issues about our country. Um, I'm Pastor Wallow, and it's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to the conversation, and I hope you can follow us. Please send us your comments if you can, so that we can improve our platform. But it's good to be here.
Good afternoon, good evening, good day. The name is Moses Sigbe. I hail from Delaware, Rhode Island, Delaware, Dover, Delaware. And it's a pleasure being on this platform again. I know over 2 years ago, I used to be a permanent participant. So it's just the platform back to share some information, some knowledge, some experiences on the topics discussed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, now we'll go back to
All right,
Sergeant Chroma, Sergeant Montgomery.
all right. I don't know why I'm not seeing myself on your screen. There you
There you
go.
go.
Good. I was going to come hard on you. But anyway, let me say good evening here to your listening audience. I'm Leo Montgomery. Happy to be here always to discuss the Liberian people issue, our issue. Um, I can't wait to have a very good conversation with my fellow panelists here. Like I always say, when it comes to Liberia, I'm always on board to discuss the issues, not just to discuss it, but to also put up suggestions and solution moving forward as to what we can do as Liberians to, better the situation that's going on in our country. So thank you, Mr. CEO.
All right, thank you, guys. I really appreciate you staying with us today to discuss these main important issues. I know most of you guys have seen and heard about the illegal substances in Liberia that are eradicating a certain portion of our population, especially the youth. So now, open for discussion. We will discuss this issue the best way we can and try to find some solutions, maybe recommendations that we can give for people who are out there are listening. So, gentlemen, the discussion is why are we seeing a lot of influx of drugs in Liberia, illegal drugs? Anybody wants to go? And then after while we discussing, I will show some video. I will just pause, and then we'll watch some videos together and see what the drugs are doing to Liberians. Anybody want to chime in first?
Yeah, let me start up. So, Roger, thank you for this topic. I think it is timely. It's very important because I haven't met any Liberian who is not concerned about the happenings in our country, Liberia, most especially as it relates to the issue of substance abuse and addiction in Liberia. You know, in 2012, uh, the Ellen Salif administration, send out people in the diaspora to talk to people about, about Liberia and to recommend things that the government should focus on. And I remember these five guys came to California at the time I was in California, and most of the discussion was on economics issues, right? But I was the only person in that gathering that were talking to them about the issue of substance abuse in Liberia. At the time, it was not as as it is today, right? And one of the things I told them was that Liberia is a post-war country, and we had child soldiers, we had combatants who were now former combatants who engaged into substance abuse during the war, and now those things were going to come and haunt or hurt our society. So the administration needed to focus on that. And one of the guys who was actually a lawyer among them told me that the administration was not focusing on that because that was not, that was not the issues that Liberians were concerned with. And I told him, I said, you know, there are a lot of support that is coming to the country right now. I think this will be the right time for us to put into place infrastructure so that so that the country can be able to fight against illicit substances that are coming into the country. If we don't do it now, if we don't do it now, it will have a great impact on our society, but most especially on our population. And today, we see what is going on now in Liberia, right? It's out of control right now, right? Those are the effects of the war. Every country that experienced war, after war, these things happen. Okay, so our negligence of us not focusing on drugs or illicit substances in our country, that's what bringing us to this place. Now the question is, what are we going to do moving forward, right? Because Liberians youth are dying, Liberians children are dying, Liberians men and women are dying. Okay, and it seems like the government have not been able to respond to this epidemic, but it is serious. We need to give it attention. We, meaning the government of Liberia, need to give it attention, and we need to find the resources for us to be able to handle this because, Brother, as you pointed out, it is actually killing a lot of Liberian young people. And if we continue on this path, our country will have no future. We need to handle it now, and we need to do it right now.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Water. Again, so my question here to us, right? Why are we really seeing this illegal substance just in Liberia? Why? Is it because Liberia is a passageway, or Liberia which is because of the poverty, or because people just want to have something in the body and then just get rid of the thinking that if I do drugs today, it's gonna wear away my problem. But my thing is, why are we seeing why?
Okay, let me just step in for a little bit and give some historical perspective.
Okay.
Number one is that the issue of substance abuse and drug use It's not just unique to the Republic of Liberia. This is a worldwide issue that's been around looming for many, many decades. As we live in the United States and Europe and other places, we've seen the responses, we've seen the influx of drugs. Let me just give a brief background on Liberia's situation. As Dr. Wallace said, post-war, coming from a war, especially where drugs were very prevalent among child soldiers, that was one of the first biggest problem that needed to be addressed besides the disarming those rebel factions. And that the world has stood with us because I remember when Ellie Johnson Sirleaf came and spoke to the joint session of Congress, she articulated the importance of trying to rebuild our country and the remnants of the war and what the war cost the country of Liberia. One of the things that she was talking about, including the issue of forgiving our debt, was to reintegrate youth into a very sustainable culture. With that being said, by 2011, right before what Dr. Wallace said in 2012, Liberia had become, and it came from the FBI in Washington, D.C., based on statistical data and what have you. At that time, they had arrested some Colombians in Liberia. And I can tell you, I received the alert because I was working with some colleagues who were directly connected to the FBI, and we were at work in Greenville, Wisconsin, when that alert came out. 2013, I went to Liberia and I did some assessment on some of the security issues in Liberia, only to discover that the widespread of drugs and that Liberia had really become a haven for drug trafficking. That was the alert. So the entire United States, knowing the relationship with Liberia, did a focus on Liberia. So this drugs issue is not just beginning, and that's why my reaction to the protest the other day was that people needed to understand the uh, the prevalence of drugs in our country and what's causing it. Now, let's look at what drug does. The drug is a multi-billion-dollar empire, and the people who are held responsible are not held responsible enough, or who should be held responsible, are totally ignored. In the situation of Liberia, like the deputy director said the other day, some of the people who are responsible for the problem, who either bringing the drugs or encouraging the drugs to come in the country, are the big wigs. How do you go after the big wigs when those guys control the economy and they control all of those things that we talk about, security threat and all of that? We really don't have no drug laws on the book statute. We need to create some of those things. We're not into solution yet, but when we get there, I will make my own recommendation and opinion available. But this thing is a multi-billion dollars empire, and you cannot stop it overnight. It's going to take the faith-based organization, the community-based group, the business leaders, the community by itself, and every individual has to play a role in trying to minimize the prevalence of drugs in the Republic of Liberia. So the drug issue goes way back. We could have a week of conversation on this, and you will always get new information. Some of us who've been working in the criminal justice system in the United States, we know what it takes and some of those best practices that other countries try to imply so that they can reduce the use of drugs because to totally eradicate it would be it's going to take a while and it's going to take serious attention. We don't, first of all, have the budget to fight drugs in Liberia. Just the other day, I was on another show and someone revealed that the DA budget for operation is $900,000. That's DEA operation budget $900,000 for the Republic. We're talking about a little city in Baltimore, drug budget in the billions of dollars because to fund the drugs you have to go after the big weed, and it takes time. It takes program that you have to adapt in community to really change the lives of people and their mindset. While you go in and prosecute, you go to prosecute big guys. These guys who bring drugs, they got serious money, and they're gonna fight you all the way through
Okay.
bribing other people. And Liberia, we know how Liberia is. So I won't want to take this whole time of this conversation. I just want to give you my own perspective
Yeah.
on some
Okay.
of the issues that in drugs. So thank you for listening.
All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Singway. Um, Edwin.
All right, so I want to thank you guys for adding up. You both make a lot of good points. Um, as far as how we can address these issues of funds or no funds, but the main thing that is going on with Liberia right now, as it concerns the drug situation, we are looking at socio-economic inequities on a hyper level, right? So we have a higher level of socioeconomic inequity. If you had this situation, people they are dormant, they're not doing anything, so they're literally sitting around. An idle mind is a playground for anything. It, this situation metastasizes into like the government situation, the police accepting bribe and stuff. People are not getting paid on time. So somebody will look the other way for like Nigerians per se. They're bringing in, say, we're bringing in TV and they're stocking it with drugs and things. So our social economic situation has never been improved. The youth are just sitting by themselves, nothing for them to do. We don't have social program. We don't even have like Mr. Segway was saying, like the faith-based and community-based organization that we have. All of these things require funding, but the government apparently is not on a priority list. Again, we are back to not prioritizing the future. So they are not. It's not on the priority list because if you have something for the youth to do, if they have like a place they can go to twice a day or thing to distract them, that can reinforce a lot of positive things towards the youth. But we don't have that. The social the social economic inequity is too high to the level that it goes all the way down to the police, to the AFL, the same guys that are supposed to be stopping these guys. They would take little amount of money without looking at the future and basically just pawn everybody. So we've been talking for a while, but the near future of this country, which is the youth, if the administration, the prior or before them, are not prioritizing the youth, you will have something like this going on. You'll have people walking in America with unlimited budgets. They're still having issue with drugs. This is a very big issue. It's almost insurmountable for Liberia. Can it be conquered? Yes, but this is almost like insurmountable. If you allow these things in, it's daily. These drugs people, they are well versed. This is a business they're doing. They got technology. They know how to do this thing. They know who to affect. They know who to do. And like this is a big issue. So the way we do this, the government has to reorganize the priority. Reorganizing the priorities is about addressing the future. If you address the future, you have to focus on the youth. Mr. Waller pointed out that we have a situation from the war. We do. I always say, everybody from Liberia, whether you fought the war or not, we have some type of psychological issue to address. You can take, for example, like somebody that was living a middle class life in Liberia, and then you just got displaced. Your parents are on the road to have a way better life, and then everything got canceled out. Even if you never took a gun, your path had been switched up in a whole different level and starting from one. And then you couple that with people that took guns that actually been fighting. So 100% of people from Liberia, they need some kind of psychological thing to be addressed with them from our country, whether you for war or not. So psychological issue is very big for me when it comes to our country. We need everybody over there needs some kind of psychological psychologist to go to. You gotta address some type of psychological issue with you because everybody from our country, the war did not make everybody the same, and nobody has been able to put these on priority on high priority. Again, we just lost over 350,000 people in our country, and we're just moving on nonchalant. Like everything is okay. We want to have an organized government. This is insane. For any other country, whether like World War II, Germany, nobody loses a lot of people like that and don't come up with like a big thing to address the issue before you even try to move on with like a so-called government. We're just moving on. That's why everything is so disorganized. That's why we're confused. That's why we want to be Ghanaians or Nigerians because we're not doing
Okay.
things orderly. We're not doing things orderly.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Paul. So at this time, we just give the sergeant Montgomery some time to talk on the issue, and then after that, we're gonna play a little short video and see the effect of drugs in Liberia. We're just gonna play one video. We're gonna talk about the issues, and we're gonna stop, you know, taking suggestions or recommendations on how we can go about. If we can find I understand Mr. Singway and Dr. Warden, all those are spoken, you know, that intake on this, but we will have to figure out what it really costs in this to happen in Liberia. And but again, I will just allow Sergeant Montgomery to go ahead. Montgomery.
Uh, Thanks, CEO. So, again, let me say here, right? In the next 5 years, if Liberia is not careful, we will not have no next generation.
Mm.
The next 5 years. Look, CEO and the rest of my guys here, I saw a video of a mother having watched her son die right in front of her. I mean, they scream, they shout. I mean, that scream just sent a louder message to me. The last time I personally felt a mother's pain was when my mother lost her father. And the scream that she screamed near me when I was watching that video, it just reminded me. But again, like I said, in the next 5 years, my guys, look, you have political parties with campaign on these issues about drugs. I will come and do this. And when they come, they just become, I mean, it's just bad. And who are they using? The same young men and women that will vote for them, and then they come into office and destroy their lives. Look, brother, this is a serious issue. You cannot take a goat, put a goat in cassava leaf farm, and you expect that you will harvest a good cassava. It will not happen. I said it the other day here last Sunday. Until we start, Mr. Moses here, he's a security man. Until we start taking some strong actions against this drug laws in our country, I don't see us fighting it. Like, look, we are not serious in fighting this drug issue. You get one or two people, put them on TV, social media carry. No, the big look. Let me tell you, my guys, something that all of us know. Liberia right now, the country Liberia, is a hub for transporting drug across the nations of our sub-region,
Yes.
western region, different countries. I'm talking Colombia, Liberia. Okay, they got these ships that come in and they are transporting. So our police officers then I know, look, they come and tip these guys and use our seaport and they are crossing. Not just Liberia is a wide user now, but Liberia is a transit point for crossing drug across the nation. And nobody can sit here and tell me, say, our government don't know. These big guys come from different countries. Well, all these different guys come and open one small little office, like they're trying to establish a business in Liberia, and they are crossing drugs. Pay small police directors small money. They can't front one or two innocent people. They say they're fighting drugs. But yet, look at the videos of our young people dying on a daily basis, my brother. And you say we can't take strong action. I know my reverend said I was too strong the last time the words I was using. Go to South Korea when you enter South Korea airport. It's right there. Any drugs here, straight firing squad. Don't take my word for it. Go do the research. China. China, from the airport, they tell you these were drugs country before, but up until they started taking the strict actions. Go look at China now. South Korea is one of the most drug-free country in the world. What can we say about Liberia? It's a hard thing to fight, but I'll give my colleagues the chance
I
here.
I agree with you so daily. And the other point I'm trying to make here, right? There is a problem like my comrade said, Edwin Paul. The economic issue, we got to fix it. Okay, these young men are just passing around, nothing doing. Okay, so apparently they will claim to things that will make their mind to be relieved of some of their problems. But now what they're doing, the illegal drugs, are causing more problems for healthcare in Liberia. We do not have the healthcare system to combat the effect of illegal drugs in Liberia. No way. Our healthcare system cannot handle the pandemic that is going on. We will need a redemption to come in. We need something to come in and solve this problem. Look, I would say this. I don't know how well Liberia is equipped, you know, equipment wise, intelligence, to be able to detect these drugs are coming in. And again, I think when these things are happening, anybody who are caught should be penalized, and I think they should be done in an open way, so people can see it. But like I say again, this drug pandemic is going to affect the healthcare system daily, and we don't even have the money for our own healthcare system. Now, I just want to play this video so I can watch it. I know the time is not long, but let us just watch it together, okay?
Our future is jolly. Let's come together and protect our future by saying no to drugs. I love 2G beats.
This has been me, seeing a lot of youth taking drugs in the street. This is been me.
So you can see, that's one person has a gallon of milk. The drug.
All right, gentlemen, can you hear me? Can you guys see what happening in that country? It's just a little piece of video I just wanted to show, so at least we can see some of the effect of these drugs on young people. That young man is
Well,
is going. He's already mad. It's
yeah.
sad,
Let
man.
me just let me just come in for a second. My work experiences in this country has given me the privilege to meet some of these people and to tackle some of the issues here with drug abuse, crime, and what have you, one on one. And I can tell you, I agree with everybody what everybody said, but you see, if you don't have the funding and you're not ready to fight this, it's difficult. And we're saying that, what the sergeant was saying. By the way, let me let you know, Sergeant, that hat you got on, I want my own. So I want that hat. Okay. My
This is
video is on
well,
now.
we gotta make up. Me, you gotta make up. I got you.
No, because from the last time you and myself, we were doing some kutu kutu, but you disappeared from me. But my video is on
We'll
now,
talk behind the scene.
so you can show my video. But
Yeah. Okay, there
what
you go.
happened?
Your video keep going in and out.
Oh, I'm not sure why. Okay. Well, but the thing with drugs abuse in our country, and like somebody stated, Liberia became a hub since 2011 during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration. Well, they didn't become, but they were identified as a hub for worldwide drug trafficking and as a transit point. So since 2011, and that report came from the State Department and the UN. So since that happened, what has the government, the administration done? I didn't say I don't. I'd hate to use the word government because there's four branches of government: the judicial, the legislative, the executive, and the people themselves is the largest form of government. Like the other day, they got out and protest. What can they do? We have a group in Liberia that came about right after the war called the Youth Crime Watch of Liberia. And that group has been there. And I can tell you, the president, I was sitting president now, at the time as vice president, was honored by the Youth Crime Watch of America for standing with the Youth Crime Watch of Liberia. So he knows the result that is coming from this. Most of these young people were given drugs during the war, and you cannot just not create a habilitation for them and think that they're going to be okay. You know, we misuse the word rehabilitation. Rehabilitation means the person was good before and you want to make them good again. But if these kids were born with drugs in the system, you can't take them back to that. You have to totally rehabilitate them. And people use those terminology just loosely and not understanding what it really means. So the war on drugs need to include everybody. We need to do a lot. And you see what you're looking at, the videos and all of that, is happening right here in the United States. I got a video recently of people in Philadelphia, the same condition, the greatest country in the world. So this is not something that's very easy to address, and there are a lot of best practices that other people have done and done it in a cluster in little communities. You have to go and address it a little bit at a time. The first thing they need to do, and I will start with the recommendation, is to look at the entire DA organization. There has to be some statute put on the books by the lawmakers. We got to create drug courts. You see, in this country, when they started to look at the drug issue, they created drug court. The drug, because specifically, any drug charge goes to the drug court. Then we had the nuisance. We had the what you call it? What's a court? There's another court that was created for young people who were the truancy court. Truancy court. When kids start skipping school, that means they're doing something wrong somewhere. So when you're truant and you're not in school when you're supposed to be in school, that means you engage in other things. So that's where it comes in. When you go to truancy court, they do evaluation on you to find out why you're missing classes. So if you're hanging in the street corner doing drugs, they refer you to the drug court, and it goes from that place to another place. So there are a lot of best practices. I've been in sting operation in part of my job duty, and there are a whole lot of things you can do to address that issue. But the country has to be ready to do that. Okay? You can't pay a police officer $125 a month, and you're taking $15 from there or $25 from there for their pension, and think that police officer would not accept bribe. So when Edwin talked about the inequity in economic worth, those are some of the things. Those are some of the things. DEA don't even have the resources to do their job. No transportation, no communication skills, nothing, no training. So how do you expect these things? This thing needs to be addressed holistically, and that the people need to get involved, and that these people, everyone has a role to play. Everyone has a role to play if we're going to address this issue. It's not going to be one person. It's not one cap fit all. Everyone has a role to play in making sure that we try to minimize the influence of drugs and try to bring it to a level where we can control it. We saw that in the United States when Reagan came out of office. They prosecuted big people like Oliver Noah, Poindexter, John Casey, who mysteriously died. Some of you guys may not even know that. But they went after the president of the United States, Ronald Reagan, because of what they were doing with the Nicaraguan, the Sandinistas, and in El Salvador, switching drugs for guns and giving those people guns and bringing the drugs here and putting it right in black infested communities so that these people can be dependent on drugs here. So we need to take some drastic actions in Liberia if we're going to do this. And I saw a video yesterday that really was disturbing to me, where people in the community now becoming vigilante, where these guys were, they went and took the mattress and started burning it. That's not the responses you want to get.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the response. You don't want to make them homeless. You want to take control of their lives. And the government shouldn't encourage those kinds of things. And
Yeah.
these kind of videos to be aired all over your country, it's a disgrace to the country.
Almost let me add to what you are saying. Look, it's sad, right? It's sad, and this should sadden every Liberian, right? And one of the things that I think is going on in our country is our leaders are not educated about substances. They have no clue on the effect and the damage these substances do to the human body or the human brain. You are from the security standpoint. I'm from the treatment background, right? And to be honest, um, for us to ever get serious about this issue, the government has to take the lead, right? Law enforcement and investigation should be the number one thing, right? What that means is our DEA, our the Liberian National Police, the Liberian Immigration Service, the Liberian SIPO, the Liberian Security Apparatus. Every one of them has to be very proactive. Our port of entry, right? We need to tighten our port entry, whether our borders or the airports or the free ports. Those areas need to be tightened, and citizens cannot do that. It is the government's responsibility to provide security for these ports or entries. That is the first line of defense. Okay, if we are talking about fighting drugs, that is the first thing we need to do. But right within these agencies, right within these governmental agencies, right within those agencies, there are people that are not just dealing drugs, but they are using themselves. They themselves are addicted to the substance. So there is not a serious fight. Look, I don't want us to continue to say that we don't have money. The money that people steal, the millions of dollars people steal, where they got it from? The money that people steal from the government, where the money come from? What we don't have is a strategic plan to fight drugs. That's what we don't have. Look, resources is attracted to a plan. If we have a plan, if the government has a plan, there are people that are willing to support Liberia. The international community, there are people in the national community that are willing to support Liberia. But what we don't have is none of resources. Do you pay the DEA? So we just pay them and they don't have any work to do. What is the strategy we give them? Do you pay? We pay immigration officers at the borders. What is the strategic plan we give them? Do we pay these paramilitary organizations or agencies we have in Liberia? We do. But we have never defined
what they need to do when it comes to the fight of drugs. Law enforcement and investigation should be second to none in a country. When you have government officials well embedded into this thing, for example, you talk about criminal enterprises that are involved into this thing. Citizens can't do that. Citizens can fight these cartels. Citizens can fight these enterprises, these criminal enterprises. Citizens won't be able to do that. It's the law enforcement. That's why. That's why we also need to create legislation that will be well targeted on these people. The citizens cannot do that. The government have to take the lead. Before we even talk about the education and the awareness, the law enforcement and investment have to be second to none. We have to tighten that. But the government is way, way behind. And I'm not even talking about. I'm not even talking about treatment and prevention yet. But I'm just talking about the law enforcement part of it.
See
We are
that?
not doing that.
Yeah, Dr. Wallow, you're talking about one aspect of it when you talk about treatment. Some of us, we've had the opportunity, having worked in the prison system, treatment was number one. And I can tell you, you're on point. Citizens have their role to play, but the government needs to equip those different partners on what needs to happen, like you say. Strategic planning, legislative, that's what I said earlier. We need the passage of legislation that are very strict towards drugs. You cannot prosecute someone if you don't have it on the books. The judicial system is tied, and what measures, what penalties need to come in place for those people who violate these laws is very, very important. Let me say something to you also. We have over 4,000 walk-in borders. The immigration officer, they took their office now from what you call it, from Gilbert Cinema up on my point now. You go to the immigration office, everybody sitting down there waiting for pay. They don't have the equipment, they don't have cars to move around, they don't even have the logistic to go do their work. The only place that our immigration officers are, from my own estimation, and I could be wrong, I stand corrected, is at the airport.
Are you there, Mr.
Am I
Simba?
saying, are you there?
All right.
Okay.
I think I think we lost.
So um so basically I want to go back. I think sometimes we, because we have been in America so much for a long time and we've been used to sitting at work.
Of
Um
$1,000.
so we get caught up
So
with a,
It's,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
Edward, hold
Mr.
on one
Stable, are you
second.
still
I think he
speaking?
back.
Yeah.
oh,
Miss,
I'm sorry.
Mr.
I
Simba, you
got
back?
caught up.
Okay.
Yeah, because the phone was come. There was a call coming in. I blocked it already.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I called the person back. Yeah, but I'm sorry about that. I think I will do this with my computer now, moving forward, instead of being on the phone.
Good point.
Yeah, I'll do it on my computer. That way, I will be interrupted. But
Almost say before you end, the point I was actually making was that when we talk about fighting drugs,
mhm.
we are talking about multi-facets approach, right? Not just
Right,
one issue,
I
right? So I was actually adding to what you said concerning where citizens, where citizens can play their part, but where the government also need to take the lead. That was the point I was making.
okay. Point well taken. And this thing about what I find in Liberia right now is that everything is politicized. There's time to campaign and there's time to do the work. When you run politics and you become a leader, now it's time to lead. But I find most of the people in position as leader stay going back to politicizing everything. Everything has to do with, oh, the other person was there. What did they do? We're not here for that. You're there now. You need to do what is right. Forget about what happened in the past. As a leader, you need to lead. Don't go back and keep complaining about, oh, this person was there, and then you created opposition. Then the opposition, every day opposition come up against the government. Your responsibility is to your country. If you're a former leader, what did you do? We saw the practice of Jimmy Carter. How you think the Carter Foundation, when they kicked him out of office forcibly, he left the presidency. What did he do? He had an agenda and a goal. He continued that and affected Liberia as well. The Carter Foundation. Everything he did with the Carter Foundation is what he wanted to do as president of the United States. Go into
Okay.
other countries, try to create civil societies. And he continued with the Carter Foundation. That's just one example of so many others who've done great things. So we need to stop politicizing everything. Or the Barker administration not doing this, or the we administration didn't do this. Forget about politics. When it comes to that time, we will do that. We'll fight and talk about that. But now that we have a city administration, let's start doing the people's work.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Let's
but
start.
I wanna
Can
come
I
in a little bit.
can I say something
Yeah,
real quick before I mean the time? I think this honestly speaking, guys, I really appreciate everybody input on this. This is a huge topic, and then 1 hour is just too
I
short.
know.
It's just too limited to discuss this issue on a great matter. What I would suggest, right? I'm just suggesting here to us now. Do you guys want us to continue this next Sunday? So in a way, when we come in, we have, or because I think it's just too 1 hour just too short. It's just too limited for us to discuss this topic. And are you guys okay for us to continue this next Sunday?
I agree.
Okay, I agree too.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
reason why I said it because we want to stay on point 1 hour or less than 1 hour on the show, and then we can leave. So we don't want to have people um, don't have
And
enough
see you.
time to watch the stuff.
Can we make another? Can I make another suggestion?
Go ahead.
Uh, I would suggest strongly that we look at the topic as a progressive
Okay.
one. Yeah, we talk about certain situation when we talk about community involvement.
Okay.
Use one program for that. Talk about law enforcement. Use one program. And when we start educating the community, at the end of it, hopefully we can come up with some kind of solution-driven recommendation.
Yes.
Because we've talked about every level, and then we can come up with something that is solution-driven, and maybe who knows, it might go somewhere with that. But I
Yep.
think
I
right
well, we're taking
on
that point.
top.
We're taking.
Yeah, I totally I agree with you on with saying we can do the topics in segment so
Yes.
that so that we will be able to cover everything instead of us discuss it in general, but we can break it down in segments and then discuss it as we go on.
So can I suggest another one? So if we have to come up with the segments, can we is can we divide that among ourselves where one person can host and then so we can have a fair rotation of hosting this.
Yes, we
So
can do
let's
that.
say,
So
for
what
example,
you do,
if we
Roger?
come to law enforcement, we can ask Mr. Simway to host that show that day, and then
Roger,
something
let's
else.
Roger, let's
Yeah,
let's let's close the show and then
yep, I'm
add
about to do that.
Musimbe in a group chat and then we can talk about it.
Okay, that's fine. Makes sense. Gentlemen, I'm so sorry. The time is too short. Get me wrong. I was getting too involved in this right now. But I really appreciate your time that you take from your busy time and your family to be here today to discuss the nation Liberia. It shows that we dearly do love our country, Liberia. So at this time, we will go around. We'll just have 2 minutes of closing statement, and then further informations will be given on the group chart. At this time, maybe we would like to start with the Mr. Singway. Do you want to go first?
Well, I've said enough for now. I would
Okay.
want to yield my time to Edwin because Edwin wanted to say something. He wanted to add, so
Okay.
his 2 minutes can take my 2 minutes because
Okay.
I've said a lot, and we can work for that.
Thank
So
you.
Edwin and the sergeant can split my 2 minutes.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you for the same way. What I was about to add is, sometimes we are jaded by our surroundings because we've been so much in America, the system at work. So we try to compare our broken system, like bro, if any, if we have any system to America. So, well, looking at our situation, I think sometimes we like go above ourselves and we start thinking about in advance where we start thinking budgetary, law enforcement. But basically, what we have right now, I think we just need like unmaxed patriotism of somebody that care enough for their own people. We need candor and somebody like truthful and to attack these issues. As far as budgetary and things, we never have budget for anything in Liberia, and that's just the truth. If you switch your priorities to what you want to make priority, they will have budget for it. They do have a budget though for campaigns. They do have budget for other stuff, but they choose to have that budget for different things on purpose. As it relate to solution for this topic, basically we need strong border control. That's also going to go back to budgeting, paying people correctly. Um, we need like a faith-based kind of organization to step in to redirect the youth with different programs that they can go to instead of them being idle-minded. We need like a good rapport with the citizens and the police officers or the army within the country. Maybe they can coordinate with each other and tell people who's bringing what. But again, if economic is not balanced, if you tell this police officer, you're only telling him to know how to wash his back, pretty much, because he already took the bribe. So it's kind of hard to target these things. Um, we just need people that care about Liberia in our country pretty much. All of the ideas that were discussed, Mr. Waller, Mr. Sibley, my brother Sergeant, these are all good ideas. Implemented if we have boots on the ground today, implementing on Monday, just minor things, we will have a solution pressing forward before December. But we don't have people that are in our legislature or whatever department are responsible for law and order that are even talking about these things like we are, or sitting and having a round table. How can we address this thing? Say what you want to say about Charles Tiller. There was no drug in that country during Charles Tiller term because he cared about
Agree.
Liberia. No keke in the street. No keke in the street. No drugs in that country because he cared about the country enough. Say what you want to say about him. That's why I'm going to end.
All right, thank you guys. Let me just jump in here. See, oh, this topic is so massive and 1 hour. I mean, again, I would just suggest behind the scene when we go back in the back room. But 1 hour, yeah, I was just about to start unleashing on the Liberian government now, and then my law enforcement agent on the line here said, no, we shouldn't go political, but it's highly political when it comes to drug issue in Liberia. Look, you can tell from a government the seriousness of a government by looking at his budget. Just by looking at the budget, you can determine if that government is serious or not. Waka government is not serious. Look, Mr. CEO, thank you for that video you show. But I watched a similar video. Guess what? This whole zombie thing, there's a new level of drugs now that's in Liberia. That kush thing. Look, when the children just inhale it, it destroys their stomach, the inside, everything. I watch a video, and guys, this will be in my closing as well. A police officer was one of the bar watchers to this kid dying. Some of these videos you have trained people, whether be a nurse or police officer, they watch. It has become an entertainment. Okay? What that government is not going to do anything with this thing? Look, let me tell you. Dr. Waller was talking about, finding trained people. Look, how can you find that there are trained people in Liberia? But you got people buying fake degrees and Waka is hiring them into the government. So where will you find the trained people where everybody is buying degree left and right? So the actual trained people now, they are being sidelined. This is a serious fight against our next generation. Again, I will just close by thanking the CEO. I was really looking on Popani more on this issue, but time won't permit us. But Joseph Waka government is not a serious one at all. It's not a serious one, and maybe next week I can expand on it more. Thank you for the time.
All
Thank
right.
you, Labyrinth.
And my closing going to be very short. Um, Recently, we had the ECOWAS. We had an ECOWAS dedication to Liberia, and they went, I think, at the Center Street graveyard to meet with the quote unquote Zokos. And one of the things the head of the dedication said was that ECOWAS was now taking into great consideration the fight against drugs in West Africa. And he said, we just came from Sierra Leone. I'm quoting him now. He said, we just came from Sierra Leone. And what we see in Liberia and what we saw in Sierra Leone, Liberia is doing better. Sierra Leone is worse. That's what the head of the ECOWAS delegation said. Now, I want you to think about that, right? If Liberia is doing better and Sierra Leone is doing worse, and we shared a common border with Sierra Leone, we have border with Guinea, we have border with Ivory Coast, we have people bringing stuff into the country. Our next door neighbor is doing worse. How you think the drugs is coming in the country? If Sierra Leone is doing worse and Liberia is doing better, and we just have a common border right there, why you think there would not be an influx of drugs in Liberia? It would be because we don't have a strong border control. So even if we carry out the awareness, we carry out the 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 psycho education, we carry out the treatment, the rehab, we build all of these things. As long we cannot stop the influx of drugs in Liberia, we are defeating the purpose in itself, right? The purpose is defeated in itself. We have to look. That is the primary reason of all government, to protect your citizens. Protect your citizens. Your citizens are dying. Hey man, why we don't value Liberian lives? Why when it comes to a Liberian in America here, I'm not doing country comparison, but I'm talking about human dignity. If one American dies, the the president of the United States will acknowledge that. Liberians die in masses, and Edwin said earlier on, then we just move on. We don't value the lives of our people. That thing has nothing to do with because Liberia don't have resources or Liberia don't have money. Where the money coming from? When they're ready to celebrate, when they're ready to steal, where are they taking that money from to steal it? Where do they take money from to buy their cars? Where do they take money from to get themselves bonuses, to go on trips? And where are the money coming from? We just don't value our citizens' lives. Liberian lives have no value to our leaders. If they did, from 2011, when President Salih was president, this issue from 2011 up to now, that's almost 13 years. We could have gotten hold of this issue here. Yeah. But because Liberian lives are not valued, let it happen to one of their children. Let it happen to Joseph Walker's son. Let it happen to Ellen's child. Let it happen to a representative child.
Okay.
They will take serious action, but it's happening to common Liberians' children. The children you see at the graveyard, the video you were showing, Bro Joe, they got in a water there.
You know, that's a common Liberian child. So our leaders have no problem with that. Liberians can die. As long as it is not their children, they are fine with it.
Okay.
We just don't value Liberian lives. It has nothing to do with resources.
Okay.
Liberia can raise the money for us to fight drugs. But because we don't value Liberian lives, we don't. So that's exactly what you see happening. And it's just sad. It's so pathetic that we can treat our own people like that. It's so
Uh,
sad.
all right. All right. Thank you, Dr. Waller. I just want to say thank you to our listeners and viewers, and I just want to appreciate the panelists for their meaningful contributions to this crisis going on in Liberia. I want to thank Mr. Moses Singbe for taking off his busy time to be here with us to discuss these important issues affecting Mama Liberia. Also to Dr. Archibald B. Waller, we say thank you for bringing meaningful insight to this platform. And I just want to also uh, thank my host, my me host, Mr. Sergeant Leo Montgomery, for all he has done and he's still doing in the community and for Mama Liberia as a whole. And not forgetting my brother and friend, Mr. Edwin Saipor. We say thank you for coming in and bringing in some meaningful discussion to this platform. We appreciate you, and we just say next Sunday we will be expecting you guys to be back here. I think what will happen next Sunday, maybe we'll come on 30 minutes early or an hour early so we can have enough time to discuss these issues. I can tell that we are passionate about these issues, and then we will break them down into segments, and then we will go from there. Even if this one thing I want to make, even in this great nation, they are still finding difficult time to battle drugs, illegal drugs in this country. The healthcare system is they can't handle it, but they are trying to manage it while compared like to Liberia. We hope that this will reach the listening ears of those that need to hear this to bring change in Liberia. But once again, thank you. We say welcome to the podcast of Action Required Media. We will see you next Sunday. Have a blessed and wonderful Sunday. Thank you, guys.